Right? Will it say? Why does it keep saying? Will it say? Saying it again. Darn it. I don't know why it's not. I am not playing another Metroid 2 remake. It's Star Citizen, you idiots. Seriously. I don't understand that. That's just goofy. Mm-hmm. Right. Okay. All right. All right. There we go. Right. Mm-hmm. Right. How am I appearing on MSM.com? That's kind of odd. Right. Okie dokie. Welp. Right. Okay. So, basically, we're back again. Oh, my goodness. Do I have. Whatever. Okay. Seems kind of slow tonight. Then again, a lot of people are eating Thanksgiving dinner. So, yeah. Kind of expecting this, for a slow night. After all, it's both Drake Day and turkey time for a lot of people. Totally understand it. What's happening? Then they shouldn't be paid. Sorry. Oh my goodness. Let's see who all is. I am about to start. Who's up? He's one of the rare ones. Besides me and Loken and a few other people. There's not many Star Citizen people online. It's kind of odd. Yeah. Well, happy late Turkey Day, everybody in the US. And for the rest of the world, happy Thursday. Hope you are well. So, yeah. Hopefully. Late Turkey Day and everything else. So, where to start today? Well, today is Thursday. Interesting. How's everyone tonight? Hopefully well. Okay. Yeah. Oh, crap. Technical difficulties. Whoops. I think I am. Oops. Sorry. Hey, guys. How are you guys? Hey, Bears. Hey, Luna. Sorry. Barely noticed you. Sorry. I was trying to get set up on some other channels. Apologies. Wasn't trying to ignore any of you. Sorry. It's been a long day. I've been dealing with a lot of people coming and going at the house. So, yeah. I'm good. I was trying to get... I stopped midway setup and... Yeah. Hang on just a minute. We have a brand new video for IAE, and then we're going to go to Drake Day. So, yay. We'll see. Y'all can hear me okay, right? Let's see. Okay, good.
Where's my...
Doing great.
Welcome back to the show.
Where's my...
Welcome back to the show floor.
The Drake Vulture enjoys a unique place in the galaxy as one of the only widely available vehicles for space salvage on the market today. With strong revenue-earning potential for pilots and much greater flexibility than the larger Reclaimer from Aegis, the Vulture uses its popular twin-arm shape to excel at both hull scraping and structural salvage, generating up to 25 SCU of recycled material composite in its buffer and cargo grids combined, whose current market value contends with that of popular commodity Quantanium, but without the associated dangers included with traditional mining.
Who wants to go boom?
Ultimately, the Drake Vulture
mining
remains a satisfying and straightforward option for those looking to fund their further adventures in the verse, and can always be found on the IAE show floor for those interested in learning more.
Welcome back to the IAE show. On today's episode, we explore mastering flight with Rich Tyra, John Crew, and Jared Huckabee. It's Thanksgiving on Earth, so we give thanks to the best ship manufacturer in the verse, Drake. I said it, and I meant it. Nobody owns me.
That's a nice
It's the
joke.
IAE show, and it starts right now.
Okay, we're back.
It's not
Part
Drake.
three, final part of our conversation about life of spaceships and Star Citizen, and it's time to address the Idris in the room here, master modes. We'd been talking about master modes for quite some time. We've been building it up as the big savior of the spaceship combat experience. It released to mixed reviews at times. You know, some people are for it, some people are less than for it. We'll just say that kindly. I want to talk about what our plan is, what our vision is. Where are we going with this? What is the plan moving forward with master modes? And I'm just going to take off and leave you two here. Yeah. Thanks, guys.
Right. I think the big
Yeah,
thing
master
around
modes
is that
a lot of
it's
head bashing right
never was
there.
designed to be
Yeah.
a static piece of development. We always wanted to make sure that we were adding in new
Notice
systems
Jared
as they came
walked
along
off
that
for
then
a bit.
influenced those design decisions that we made at the time. And I think two big pieces of feature work that we're going to be bringing to Star Citizen that's going to have a drastic change on how we implement master modes is going to be crafting and quantum boost. So right now with master modes itself, we have obviously the two master modes, SCM and nav. A big thing is that we're going to actually be demoting or converting those modes from master modes to operator modes. What that inherently means is that we're still going to have a mode that is dedicated to fighting and having combat. There is going to be a mode that's dedicated to your quantum. But we're going to be removing some of the fail-safe restrictions, yes, that had when you're switching between these modes. We're going to be moving towards one cohesive speed between all operator modes. That speed is going to be
you're
more
not wrong,
akin
Luna,
to what you'd imagine SCM speeds are now. But there's two big, huge caveats that come into that. First off is crafting. So crafting will allow you to upgrade
I know,
your
the
ship,
community's all
to
belly
tier 1,
aching
tier
about
3,
it.
4, 5.
I wish we'd
So
move
if you
on to
want
more
have
important
combat
stuff, Luna.
at higher speeds.
Yeah.
If you have a tier 5 ship and you have the best thrusters and you've
I've
specialized
basically
you've bought an
adapted,
interceptor ship,
but
that will be more
some people
applicable
haven't.
to those types of ships. So that gives people options to choose, like, I want to have this type of gameplay versus this type of gameplay. Having that cohesive, unified speed, the one thing that we really need to address is this kind of like nav flight mode that is kind of, it sits in this very odd position in terms of you get out of an LZ and you're flying up to the space station, you know, in atmosphere your speed is really closer to SCM speeds anyway. You're not flying at 1,000 meters a second. You can pick up start a bounty hunter mission now, be sent to another planet, and then the closest quantum point to that POI might be 500 kilometers away.
How's sound, guys? No echo?
That, you know, as we add more dense POIs, that's going to only exacerbate this situation because we can't have quantum markers everywhere. And when we start to add more space exploration and more missions towards the different guilds that we're operating on, where you're going to having to go into deep space and go into these large distances, you don't want to be in a position where that's taking such a huge amount of time. We want you to be spending more time doing the mission than flying there. This is where Quantum Boost comes in. Now, the way that Quantum Boost works is kind of, it connects your flight speeds to your quantum travel. So quantum travel is for flying millions of kilometers away when you have a specific quantum marker that you're flying towards. Then you've got your flight speeds, which should be, you know, say sub 20 kilometers, where you're flying around, exploring on the planet, or fighting at a POI, or doing a bounty hunting. But anywhere above that, we want to kind of accelerate that process of that navigation. And Quantum Boost goes all the way up to
You're not the only one, Bears. I totally understand,
your current nav mode, all the way up to essentially a tenth of quantum travel speed. You have this spectrum of speeds that allow you to navigate the large spaces in our game.
Hold on
but
just a
also
second,
then
chat.
Still stay true to some of the intentions that we delivered with master modes.
Master modes we talked a lot about, and the combat side broadly staying the same. The nav side that was the limiting factor, we often said, like, it's too fast, but not fast enough. The amount of times we watch new players go into nav, go towards a station, and then we'd be sat there going, they've not stopped in time. So Quantum Boost was always supposed to be that bridge gap, and without it, we were left with this.
Sorry
sort of
about
nav
that,
mode
guys. We just
didn't
had a
quite do what I
neighbor
wanted.
come by.
And
My
also,
mom
because
was
it's quantum
telling
and
me,
it's
and
bubble
she
around your
literally
ship,
dropped.
allows us-
Hang on. She literally dropped off an entire 4-course meal, sweet rolls, dessert, all kinds of crazy stuff. We didn't even ask her for it. He basically dropped it off. It's like, here, you can have this. Absolutely crazy, guys. Sorry for the interruption. But hey, when it rains, it pours, guys. Here we go.
There's less friction in the traversal because you go in quantum, you come out quantum, you don't have to apply all this G-force.
The rules of physics are
The rules of
different
physics are
because of the
different
bubble.
because you're not physically hurtling at that speed. You're wrapping a bubble of time and space around yourself. So you come out, you can stop dead. You're not having that expanse moment where you're all being ripped apart from the G-force. So you see that space station coming towards you, you stop, you stop.
The one limitation that we are retaining is the fact that you can't have your quantum drive enabled and also your shields. And ultimately, that's a binary decision. Operator modes will start off as the default configuration that we've set in terms of the controls, in terms of the MFDs and what you're casting onto your HUD, in terms of your resource network presets. But that doesn't stop you from then going in and customizing it. We're providing an initial, hey, this is what we think is a good default setting. But then it's up to the players then to customize what they want on their cast, what they want on the MFDs, and then they have options to them. And they shouldn't have this constant switching modes to gain access to certain operator modes. You know, we're removing some of that friction.
And through all of this, because that binary distinction is between modes, you have to be in this mode or this mode, and there's all these very strict rules between those modes, you keep your weapons through all this. So this now becomes a more tactical decision in combat. But if you need that sudden burst of speed, either to get away from something or to catch up to something, you make the choice. You sacrifice your shields, certainly, but you can still bring your weapons to bear and stuff, get there, and the second you're out.
And ultimately, that is underpinned by your resource network engineering. So if you're on a single-seater ship, that's obviously at the pilot's behest. But also if you're on a larger multi-crew ship, you can then use the engineering terminal to be able to have those presets available to you.
And through the use of crafting to improve your components and, of course, your presets and quantum boost, rather, you can get up to speeds that are approaching the current nav speed and stuff like that. So we're not taking that speed away. We're defaulting everything to a speed that is closer to today's SCM. Yeah. And then giving the player choices in how and when they can get up to that speed without completely disabling everything.
I mean, ultimately, it allows us to keep the default. We're trying to move towards a balance across the game where you can start off easier and it gets harder. So we want the default to be open and compatible to lots of players, but then as you start to specialize and it becomes hard to master and you start to work in the different avenues of different professions that you like, that's where you can start to customize your ship. And I think there's a key takeaway or a key point to also make is that if you don't want to craft, if you don't want to go down that route because you just want to shoot ships and be a combat pilot, or you just want to be a miner or a space trucker, there's nothing wrong with that. You can still gain access to this because player trading is going to be something that allows players to gain access to these components and ships without having to go through some of the grind that they have, and obviously they're now reaping the benefits of that. But you have lots of choice.
Obviously, there isn't one prototypical Star Citizen player. Developing a system that's going to please everybody is an impossible task. We can only work towards our goals and our vision for what we want this to be, and hope it applies to as many people as possible. What I like about this is that you can never go wrong with putting the choice in the player's hands. At any given situation, when you're going to want your speed, when you're going to want your shields, you'll always have your weapons from now on. So like this, just put those choices in the player's hands and let them let them decide for themselves.
Right.
That's one of those things unique about Star Citizen is that we get to develop this, and then we don't have to wonder. We can put it into players' hands and get that feedback immediately and then take it in. I think there's a real chance for this to be the spaceship experience we've been working towards this whole time.
I think the big thing to take away from all the things that we've discussed is that none of these things are designed or implemented in isolation. And where we're trying to go is, like, you know, when we talk about combat that is, say, not as fast as it was in previous updates,
Prevents your
people
bourbon
understand
at
we're
your
doing that not
service.
just because we don't have fast combat. It's because we want to give players options to gain fast combat or gain slower combat, depending on what choices they make with crafting or their purchases. Then it's on a scenario where, you know, capital warfare is, you know, you need to be able to use precision targeting, and that's why we developed that feature so that you can have good subcomponent targeting. And I think when you start to see some of this bigger picture come together, and you start to see all of these individual pieces connect, you might not agree with it, and there's nothing wrong with that. Absolutely nothing wrong with that. But ultimately, that's what we're trying to do. That's how we're trying to connect all these pieces together to create this experience that ultimately Chris is the one that is setting that vision, and we're trying to execute on that vision for Chris. And that is what we're trying to work towards, and hopefully people can start to see some of these pieces connect together and why some of these decisions have been made. And, you know, and hopefully they enjoy it ultimately at the end of the day.
So Rich, John, thank you so much for taking the time to share this vision of Star Citizen's spaceship gameplay. I think there's no better place to do that than IAE, a celebration of all spacecraft and vehicles in Star Citizen. It's come to my attention that the last two parts, when I've attempted to move us on to our next topic, folks have been changing the channel. So I don't want you to do that here. Up next, I'm going to talk directly with John Crew and explain to him my true vision for the spaceship Jalopy once and for all.
Change the channel.
Hey, you! Yeah, you! Are you a DIY security super fan? Have you seen every Garmin Humble live stream and special?
Not any of
Haven't
these.
seen this? It's gonna blow your mind. Sign up for all the casualties, catches, and kills. Too hot for open comms. Too intense. Too brutal. Too spicy for Spectrum.
When things get dicey, go extra spicy.
Subscribe now.
Welcome back to another episode of Quantum Questions, where we take a CIG developer, put them on the hot seat, and make them answer as many questions as they can in under 2 minutes. Joining us on the show this week, the happiest person at CIG, Mr. John Crew. John, how you doing?
I'm doing great, having a great day.
That's good to hear. Ben got
Great
15 questions in 2
happiest
minutes. How many do you
person?
think you're going to get?
Oh, let's go for 16.
All right, so let's put 2 minutes on the clock
16, guys.
and begin. Who are you and what do you do?
My name's John Crew, I'm the vehicle director at CIG.
You're in a desert walking along in the sand when all of a sudden you look down and you see a tortoise. It's crawling towards you. Why did you nerf the Corsair?
It was massively outperforming all other ships in the game. It had 40% of the kills overall just by itself, so it needed bringing down a touch. The current reduction in its efficiency is not going to be the final way. We want to do a bit more with it.
What's the drama with the Polaris torpedo tubes?
It's not clear that they actually rotate and feed from the bottom and skirt around the elevator shaft.
Is that what they really do?
That's what they do in the animation.
Where is my Crusader Starliner?
It's going to be after 1.0.
Will you ever make the
1.0
Rock
Crusader
DS
Starliner.
Yes, so we want to enclose both players, whether they're going to be side by side or line astern, still to be decided.
Tell us.
Hold
what-
up. I just made jokes yesterday, folks, about the Rock DS. The man has heard it. The man is going to fix the Rock janky, ugly DS. Rewind to what he just said.
Will you ever make the Rock DS good?
Yes, so we want to enclose both players, whether they're going to be side by side or line astern, still to be decided.
Tell us what one of the ships.
Okay. That's a lot better because, as you know, the current Rock DS has one player enclosed, one in an exposed seat. He also said Starliner after 1.0. Yes, he did, Luna. Which is right. I kind of expected it.
Ships from the tease at CitizenCon was?
It's a variant of one of the ones we teased last year.
Ooh. What can you tell us about Endeavor modules?
All still planned, but after 1.0.
Why do you hate Drake ships?
I don't hate Drake ships.
Well, why is Drake the best manufacturer?
Drake's a great manufacturer, rugged, industrial, and nicely priced.
And what's the best Drake ship?
The Cutter, obviously.
All right, so today is Drake Day. Why should everyone go get a Drake ship?
Can I ask you a question, Jared?
Sure.
Do you ever feel like you're a soulless marketing puppet?
What's the deal with the mule?
Mule's still waiting for a little feature to allow you to remotely disconnect items from pilot seat. This is
Jared. I'm sorry, chat. Oh my god, that was funny. That was funny. Jared deserved that.
same thing we need for the Prospector and the Mole as well to remotely detach the mining sacks.
What's the deal with that double-engine Hornet we saw in the Squadron playthrough?
That's a cool special little variant used by Squadron 42.
What's it called?
It's the F7X.
Ooh. Will that ever come to the Persistent Universe?
It might do.
What about the updated Vandal
Wait,
ships?
wait.
Will that ever come to the Persistent Universe?
It might do.
What about the updated Vandal ships from
What did he say?
Will that ever come to the Persistent Universe?
It might do.
That other Hornet variant, the puppet, yeah. Look here, guys. The double engine Hornet variant, the FX, might become a brand new Hornet type. I don't know. They probably made it.
What about the updated Vandal ships from Squadron?
They will as well, but most likely after Squadron ships.
Can you confirm that the Mirai Guardian is coming to Alpha 4.0?
Yes.
Tell us something you're not supposed to tell us.
Ironclad's in production right now.
Why would you make my jalopy? Oh, at a time.
Wait. A jalopy is a dilapidated ship or vehicle that's been left around for many, many years. It most likely does not fly. I hate this man.
Rewind. Rewind. I gotta see that.
At a time.
Wait.
Oh.
A jalopy is a dilapidated ship or vehicle that's been left around for many, many years. It most likely does not fly. I hate this man.
Oh no!
This will be the day I'll stand up and say we need a ship without all that dread. A scrappy wreck, still covered in dreck, and one you can't buy that won't even fly. Jalopy.
He asks every day.
It's John Crew!
Say no way. When it's from him, the chances are slim. Truth be told, and I'll tell you why this is not.
Jalopy is bold.
Who wants jalopy? Ugh.
I want jalopy. No one wants this thing but he.
Jesus. Okay.
Signing off.
Oh my. Chat, I gotta be honest with you. That was freaking funny and hilarious as hell. Normally, I don't laugh, but man, jeez. More puppets, please. We need a Chris puppet. Come on, chat. Right? Chris, we need a Chris puppet. John Crew puppet was too believable. Yeah, it really was. Jesus. That was funny. That was awesome. He looked like he was sad and angry about his lot in life. By the way, thank you, Stuffed Avocado, for the follow on YouTube, my friend. Appreciate it. That was glorious, Luna. I enjoyed that. Thank you for saying something about watching that whole thing. That made my day, guys. That just made my literal day. Holy cow. That was literally awesome. So today was Drake Day. So first, we're gonna look at the silly store to see what was updated. Now, my account, you might see things that you guys can't get, but yeah. So, we have the Drake Complete Pack, which, yeah, nobody needs to buy it. Did they even come out with new paints this time? Anyone? The Kraken's still available, Chad. If anyone's looking to get a capital ship besides the Polaris, the Kraken is still available, as well as the Misk Endeavor Master Set. The Pioneer is still available too. Limited stock, but great. Black Hole of Doom. Yay, it didn't work. Those puppets were entertaining, chat. That was just too funny. You know what it reminded me of? No, not Sesame Street. The Muppet Show? You know? I don't know if any of you guys are old of the age to remember The Muppet Show. But oh my lord. That reminded me of The Muppet Show. So do I, Luna. It's in buyback at the moment. But so he said the Ironclad's in the works. Probably means at least both versions. This version and this. I have both, so we'll see. What other ships did he say? Right. He said a variant of a ship that appeared at CitizenCon. Definitely the Muppet Show. Yeah. That was entertaining. I gotta admit, you know. That's definitely the most entertaining thing I've seen them do. I'm tempted to rewind it and watch it again just because it was funny. We want. I still. So, what am I looking for? Leaks. That's it. Or CNG News. SC News. Wait. How did it do that? Summary of Rock DS variant, Guardian variant confirmed. Okay. F7X might come to the PU. Vandal ship Sector 42. Ironclads in production now. Mole Mule and Prospector waiting for their disconnection feature for sacks and bags and boxes. Okay, that's the important stuff. Sorry about that, guys. They were saying the Guardian, Luna. That's what he was saying. The Guardian was kind of teased last year, but I think the one he's talking about might be the Ironclad. We'll see. it is curious. I mean, he didn't specify which ship in particular, so that is curious, right? You have a point, Luna. That is a good point. He didn't say Citizen Con in particular, right? Exactly. Right. Who's ready to go into the verse for Drake Day? And a lot of people are ready. So then, here we go. We're going to shut this off. Pull up. Yeah, we were shown both ironclad variants. That's kind of why I think it's not ironclad, unless they have a third version, maybe? Which kind of seems a little odd, Luna, you know? The ironclad's an awfully large ship to have a third variant. But anything could happen, I guess, you know? Though I highly doubt it is. I guess we'll see. Yeah. All right. All righty. Now then, it's Drake Day time. Yeah. Okie dokie. Still, I gotta admit, that was the funniest sing-song thing I've seen in a long time. For Star Citizen, yeah. It's funny. Come on. Load, please. Definitely needs better internet. Right. Usually I'm the other way from the elevators. Or four. All right. Pizza Smacks is here. Okay. If we go to the monorail or Metro Rail, I guess. Metro Loop. Coven Expo. All right. All right. So,
Capsule now approaching station. Stand clear of disembarking passengers. The capsule will be leaving the station momentarily.
all righty. Here we go. All right. Here in the next few days, I'm going to be doing some videos of around my local area. When I get a chance, you know, place to go, visit, you know, do things.
Stands preeminent destination for live events and exhibitions.
Stay tuned for that on YouTube, guys.
Local providers.
Are they watering the grass up there? Okay. Somebody using guns up here or something? So we have Drake today. Origin, Anvil. Best in show. Okay. Come on. Alrighty. We're supposed to go this way like civilized people. We have, of course, we have every Drake ship, including the non-produced ships. Okay. Alrighty, here we go.
This is a friendly reminder that the Tobin Expo Center is a STEM-free environment. Please refrain during your visit and have an amazing day.
So, where to start? Here is the Drake Cutter. The Drake Cutter is manufactured by Drake Interplanetary, of course. Its focus is light freight. Designed for hardworking folks of all stripes, the cutter packs 4 SCU of cargo room and plenty of wallop into a rough and tumble, compact frame. It's a ship that truly embodies the spirit of Drake. And no matter who you are or what you do, you can reach the stars. It may be ugly looking, but it will definitely do the job for you. It's a good ship, though. So, stepping in here, we're in the cutter.
Thank you for visiting.
See, we have all these
Stanton's preeminent destination for live events.
turtle items. This is the maglock pad that locks stuff down. It's a cargo. Okay. So through this door.
This year's Drake Interplanetary
Come on.
shows that bold choices make for some of the best ships. No matter your style, there's a Drake waiting
We're on
to
some
be
issues. Okay. Is it just frozen or something? Huh. Thank you. Sorry about that, chat.
Attention visitors to the
Here's the restroom
Please take care.
for the cutter. Sleeping and living quarters, I guess you can call it. And the cockpit for the ship. I think it is 2 bullpup repeaters. Open up, dang door.
Tobin Expo Center would like to remind everyone
All right.
that the first step to fun is
So that's the cutter. What in the world? We've had an accident, chat. We've had somebody come in here, die, and they've let themselves go, sadly. Wow. Yeah. This is, it's a tragedy, chat. This poor Mirai owner took the wrong turn on the expressway.
we want to make sure that your perfect day stays that way.
I think they've somehow outdone themselves with their latest lineup.
Okay, this is the Scout, I guess. Where's the placard? So this here is the Cutter Scout. It's paring down the rough and tumble compact frame of the Cutter to the bare essentials. Drake took an already impressive ship and transformed it into the ideal scouting vessel, featuring improved radar and scanning capabilities paired with more power and cooling. The Cutter Scout is ready to fly ahead of the pack. So, it's similar internally to the base Cutter. I don't know if it has storage at all, does it? But it has a engineering station here. Oh, it doesn't. Same sleeping quarters, same cockpit as the normal Cutter. I don't think it is storage. Different paint scheme as well, and externals. So that's the Cutter Scout, and now for the Cutter Rambler, which is way over here. The Rambler, the brass tacks at Drake heard what he had to say, and their answer was the Rambler Cutter, building on the original. The Rambler preserves a full 2 SCU of cargo room while adding in requested creature comforts and enough personal storage to make even the longest journey go by in a flash. So, this is more of the utility exploratory Cutter.
This year's Drake Interplanetary lineup shows that
It still has a cargo grid right here.
no matter your style, there's There's a Drake waiting to be discovered.
The internals are much more expanded here. It's got a table, a food area, a lavatory back here. This is a locker, weapons holding place, and of course a bed. Same cockpit, but the internals on this one have probably changed the most of all three versions. Now, after this, we're going to go to the largest ship over here, the Caterpillar, which, who here owns a cat like I do? I don't fly it, but at some point I'm going to have to get used to flying it. Get on board. So to get on board the Caterpillar, you click here. I suspect the Ironclad will have a similar elevator. Probably. Now then. This is the rear of the ship, I believe. The Caterpillar. These are the engines. I believe this is an engineering terminal. So, what's up here? No. There's a turret here. Probably a lower turret, stairway access. This goes to the mess hall area / sleeping quarters. Man, this is some pretty Spartan looking places. Anyways, here is the first cargo hold. But there are several. There's 1, 2, 3, 4. Is that it? And then 5. Can you store anything here? The front of this even opens up. So that's pretty cool. People complain about Crusader having too many doors. What about this Caterpillar? Holy cow, folks. This Caterpillar has a crap ton of elevators. There's a crap ton of... That's habitation access. Not what I want. What I want is the bridge. So to get to the bridge, we had to go all the way through here to stairway access. Now here's the rear. I don't even know what this is for. Some sort of... This is command access. The command module's right here. And this is the front end of the command module. So many That's a Caterpillar, a very large Drake ship, one of their largest. It's 113 meters long. At one time, the Caterpillar was one of the largest ships in the game. It's still a force to be reckoned with. Just imagine what the bigger brother of it, the Ironclad, will be like next year. You know, the Ironclad will be an interesting comparison to the Caterpillar. Hey, Squirrel Lord, what's up, man? I was just commenting, Squirrel Lord, how, when the Ironclad comes out, it's going to be interesting to compare the two ships because, they're similar in design. Not completely, but, they have similar use cases. But it should be interesting, whenever that happens. A lot of people love Drake ships. Still at work, yeah. Gotcha. It's definitely going to be interesting to compare these ships to their older brethren. Okay, so where am I going next? I looked at the main floor.
How fun would it be to own one?
I actually ran babies. Why not take it for a test run? Many of your vehicles on display at this year's
Main floor ships, the first floor. We'll save the Kraken, the Ironclad, Mule, and Dragonfly for later. We're going to go with Hull 4.
Glad you came. It's always better exploring the show with someone else.
This year's Drake Interplanetary lineup shows that bold choices make for some of the best ships. No matter your style, there's a Drake waiting to be discovered.
Attention visitors to the Intergalactic Aerospace Expo. Please remember to stay hydrated while exploring the exhibits on display.
What in the world is
A
this?
selection of beverages and tasty snacks are available for
I
purchase.
don't think I visited this area. So this is Aphrodite. Decorative jewel crystal prize for its multi-hued tones. So this is Aphrodite.
The Tobin Expo Center is a STEM-free environment. Please refrain during your visit and have an amazing day.
Due to heightened security measures in this fancy system, Microtech Protection Services are asking all guests to be extra vigilant.
At night, a crystal oscillator sought out for its extremely high frequency vibration. High frequency of vibration, which makes it useful in various applications. What's this? Dolivine. A dull green gemstone is decorative, but can be used for industrial purposes thanks to its resistance to weathering and high density.
Tobin Expo Center would like to invite everyone to join in and help keep our halls looking their best. Every guest. Please be sure to keep track of all your belongings and deposit any waste in the appropriate receptacle.
This is definitely a new area.
This is a friendly reminder. Stay aware of your surroundings and keep an eye on your belongings at all times. We want to make sure that your perfect day stays that way.
Interesting display, that's for sure.
System, Microtech Protection Services are asking all guests to be extra vigilant when it comes to safety. If you see anything of concern,
So here's the Corsair, Buccaneer, and Herald.
Hi. Thanks for coming in.
So, first we're going to start with the Herald. The Herald's focus is medium data. The Drake Herald is a small armored ship designed safely to get information from point A to point B. Featuring a powerful central engine for high-speed transit and generating the power needed for effective data encryption, containment, advanced encryption software, and an armored computer core. The Herald is unique among spacecraft in that it is designed to be easily cleaned when in danger of capture. What that means is this ship can delete its data core to prevent data from getting in the wrong hands. In other words, a purge of the information. So, yeah. How do I open this? Is there a way in? Ah, there we go. The internals of the Herald are like this. Here's the support seat with its terminal. Its two-man bunk. Its servers, which look pretty grimy to me. And then the cockpit for the pilot. It's rather simplistic. This is one of the older ships. But I'm pretty sure the Herald will soon enough have a use in the verse. We'll see. Now, I'm going to get a lot of flack in saying this, but the Buccaneer in the right hands, I'm pretty sure can be a dangerous fighter. Even more so than Gladius. Sure, the Glad has 3 hard points that are good. But this thing can mount a size 5 gun. Yeah, congratulations, Squirrel. The Drake Buccaneer is focused on interdiction. The Buccaneer has been designed from the ground up to fly and fight and fly the way you live. The no leather interiors or hyper pillows here. The Buck is a scrapper designed to maneuver and fight above its weight class. This rough and tumble frontier fighter can be maintained in the worst of conditions in order to keep real working space crews alive. One problem though, there's no injector seat on this ship. So yeah, you literally are flying by the seat of your pants in this ship. It has hardpoint here, missiles here. I think it has 2 guns, right? Yeah. It's got these. It's got 4 guns on the wings, 2 on each side. And then can't get up there. But up top is this massive size 5 Gatling, Revenant Gatling gun. That thing can rip and tear through anything. So yeah, the Buck, though it may pop easy, it's still a glass cannon. If you let it bug you long enough, it will inflict damage. And now to one of my status stories of 2024. Y'all know what's coming next. The poor Corsair. Focus exploration. Heed the call of uncharted space and harness the spirit of exploration with the Drake Corsair, utilizing a unique asymmetrical ship hull design. This versatile explorer can go wherever the winds of adventure may steer you. Honestly, I don't like what they did. I know why they did it, but it's still dumb, in my opinion. But what do I know? The ship technically is enormous. It's one of the largest currently available Drake ships. This is its massive rear cargo bay. There are redundant components in it. Go this way. This is the engine core of the ship. Locks. Curious comment. Over here is the airlock on this side. I suspect it's back here to vent the reactor if things go wrong. Over here. There's some storage. See, look here. Rapid decompression. This is probably some compression suits and weaponry and, yeah, the like. Now into the main area of the ship. We have the mess hall, which of Drake ships, this is one of my favorite mess hall designs. Really looks good. The black and green. We have, what is this? Oh, it's a shower. Okay, that's the restroom. We have 3 crew quarters, each with a bed, storage, and other amenities. The main elevator is here. There's a gunner here for this side and this side. Then up here is, I believe, the captain's quarters up at the front of the ship with his own storage and an access panel. And then finally the bridge, which we have pilot seat, co-pilot. It's not really a captain of the ship, but when you enter the co-pilot, you get in this chair, but instead of staying here, you go down. And here's your range of motion. Get out, press Y.
Even with the crowds, I definitely think IAE is worth going to.
Now, before I leave the Corsair, we have, let's see here, the elevator. Come on. Who in the world?
This manufacturer.
That's kind of weird. Well, okay. Hello there, stranger. Open door. Guess the elevator won't work. It's kind of weird. Is the elevator bugged on the Corsair right now? Probably not, but it may just be me. I don't think it. Nope, there it goes. I think it is bugged. What on earth? Huh. Okay. Huh. No Corsair elevator. That's kind of... Yeah. Figure that one out, chat. Okay, I'm not going to mess with it, but just saying, this right here is an entrance, and right above that elevator there's an area where you can use like a crow's nest on the ship. So yeah, I'm not even gonna mess with it now. Probably a good idea. So, I did the Corsair, Herald, and Buccaneer, so I need to go this way to the next hull. No. Alrighty.
Tobin Expo Center would like to remind everyone that the first step to fun is safety. Walk, don't run.
5.
Extra vigilant comes to safety. If you see anything of concern, please alert the member of staff as soon as possible. Thank you.
Okay, Hull 5 is basically the Cutlass variants and the Vulture. Which may not sound like much. Cutlasses are actually pretty big ships, and so is the Vulture. So, we're going to start with the original Drake, one of the original Drake ships. It's gone through a lot. The original Cutlass, which is the Cutlass Black. Its focus is predominantly a medium fighter, medium freighter. Drake Interplanetary claims that the Cutlass Black is a low-cost, easy-to-maintain solution for local in-system militia units. The larger-than-average cargo hold, RIO seat, and dedicated tractor mounts are the company's literal insistence for facilitating search and rescue operations. Purple accents. Could be.
I have to say, I don't think the little rig is manufactured.
A lot of people don't like the purple for some reason. I don't know why. Anyways, this cargo hold is pretty large. About 46 SCU of cargo. Component housings are in here. To get to the bridge of this ship, you just go this way. You have weapon lockers, a fuse box here, a top gunner turret, and a 2-man bunk system, in addition to an engineering terminal, which is new for this iteration of the Cutlass Black. I didn't even know about this engineering terminal in the Cutlass Black. So that's how long it's been since I've been in here. This is the pilot and co-pilot seat. Technically, it's a 3-man ship, but a lot of people operate it as a 2-man ship. So, yeah. After the Cutlass Black, we have the Cutlass Red, which this ship reads as follows. It's medical. Oops. That's a lot of glare. The Cutlass Red converts the standard cargo hold of a well-equipped to a well-equipped, medical facility, including an auto dock. This starbound ambulance features the Nav Echo 7 transponder, a long-range scanner, and a Secure Plus docking collar, making it ideal for search and rescues. This model also features a unique red crossbones. Yeah. Unique red crossbones. That is accurate. So on this ship, we do have cargo. I think it's 12 on the red and a fuse box. But we also have ooh. Hey guys, looky what I see. Somebody left a gift. So this is a tier 3 medical. Oh, it's damaged. Oh, good, it works. So there's 2 of these tier 3 medical beds. A airlock here and an airlock here. The same basic front parts. Hey, Bears, nothing to be ashamed of. I actually have the Cutlass Red had the Cutlass Red for a while. I know the feeling. So that's the red and the black. Next up are the blue and the, as I call it, the cheap ass, or the junker, or the, I'm sorry, the steel. Honestly, though, if my one gripe about the Cutlass series, I wish all of them had this sleek cockpit. I love the cockpit on the blue. That is one of my favorite large cockpit designs for a medium ship. It also has storage. Here's its fuse box. But it has containment vessels for people to be locked up and sealed up inside. Yep. These are non-functional at the moment, but sooner or later they will be. Similar interior to the black and defenses, but the thing is, I like this internal cockpit design way better than the black. This looks so much nicer. Anywho, this ship's focus predominantly is interdiction. Sleek meaning loyal. Royal, I guess. I should be loyal, I think. The Cutlass Blue adds missiles, a more aggressive engine, and Durasteel holding cells in the cargo bay to the standard model. The Cutlass Blue is the Outworld militia standard ship of choice for patrols. Cutlass Blue, sorry. And then we have the joke, as I call it. The Cutlass Steel. With the Cutlass Steel, it's a medium fighter, medium ship transport. For the Cutlass Steel, Drake Interplanetary has once again reinvented their classic design to create a next-generation combat dropship, or tin can to get blown up in, with the addition of dedicated jump seats and an expanded arsenal. It's a dangerous verse out there, and the Cutlass Steel is dedicated, ready to cut a path through whatever stands in the way of you and your dedicated crew. Or send them screaming into oblivion, because this thing is paper thin and easy to blow up. Right? Look at all these seats. Okay, what is this? These are our door guns. It has 1, 2, 3 door guns. Ton of seats. Yeah, let's hope so. Here's the crew quarters, and the cockpit is the same as the Cutlass Black. I believe so, Bears. Yep. Now, after the Cutlass joke, we have the one more important Cutlass Drake Vulture. The Vulture is used for light salvage. Answer to no one. Cut you out the middleman and throw caution to the wind. Rip wrecks like a pro and carve out your own place in the great big empty behind the stick of this rough, rugged salvage machine from Drake Interplanetary. So, this ship is technically a medium, but it's listed as a small. It has 13 SCU of storage. It has a muncher and a something, a muncher and a vaporizer stripper for basically, well, what do they call it? Scraper. A scraper for the ship, and they all are fed into this hopper to be turned into crates. So, and then you can craft into stuff. At the moment, the crafting table, I'll just show people this a bit. You have the Pyro Multi-Tool, Through-Hole Tractor Beam, Cambrio Light SRT attachment, Cambrio Light SRT canister, as well as SRT canister. I think this is an empty and a full one. No, this is empty. And then you have a fuse. You can make fuses now. This is probably in preparation for some level of engineering, because fuses are even on this ship and you can make them, but unfortunately you can't sell them yet, which to me is a little bit of an oversight. Now, what's in here? I think this is a storage locker. Storage locker, your bed, your toilet, access panel, and then your bridge. I think you're right, Bears. Yeah, it is supposed to, but we'll see. They've said stuff like that before, man. They probably will now, though. We'll see. Anyways, moving on now from this haul, we will finish up with the Holo viewers, and then we'll figure out what to do next.
Due to heightened security measures in the space system, Microtech Protection Services are asking all guests to be extra vigilant when it comes to safety. If you see anything of concern, please alert a member of staff.
Technically, this mineral display is missing one. It's missing that new Jalenite mineral. The bluish one, whatever it looks like. I think it's actually supposed to be gold, but it's blue. A lot of people have been telling me it's blue in color. So, we're going to go down here. We have a couple more ships. It's definitely one of the longer days. We have the Dragonfly Black. Wait. What is it called? The Dragonfly Black. It's just the Dragonfly now. The Drake Dragonfly. Focus Racing. The Drake Dragonfly is the perfect snub ship for anyone looking to live on the edge. With nothing separating the pilot from the dangers of space, the Dragonfly is as much an adventure as a ship. Dual mode conversion allows the Dragonfly to operate on the ground or in space, and a rear-facing second seat means you can even take a passenger. Okay. Over here is a much newer mule, which we heard is getting some improvements too. The Drake Mule is focused on cargo. The six-wheeled mule is a dependable workhorse for all sorts of loading and hauling jobs, whether transporting cargo over rough terrain or ferrying it into larger vessels and cargo decks. The mule sees even the toughest contracts through to the end. So the mule is pretty simple. You just hit this and enter. It picks up its crates and internalizes them here. It really doesn't have an interior, unlike other Drake ships and items. Back here is the, I think this is the Kraken. No, this is the Ironclad, which we found out today is being produced. The Ironclad is heavy freight. The universe has grown more dangerous, and simply trying to earn a living has become a potentially lethal affair. That's why Drake built the hardiest freighter to fly the shipping lanes, armed with an intimidating array of turrets, a generous cargo hold, and a convenient tractor beam. So this is technically the Caterpillar 2.0, in a way. If you look at it, the design is very similar to the Cat, but it's bigger and more reinforced. I dare say it's basically the big brother of the Caterpillar. And then we have the Kraken. Everyone loves the Kraken. The Kraken has been released. And that means one thing, there's no putting it back. This attack carrier has changed the way militias operate forever. And when it comes to personal defense, there's one thing you never want to be: falling behind. A protector and a beacon of freedom in an often cruel universe, Drake Interplanetary has made this capital-class ship available to all tasked with safekeeping those unable to protect themselves. The Kraken is both a sanctuary and a self-contained war machine, ready to take on the most daunting adversaries. And the Kraken is truly an aircraft carrier or carrier in space. So it's basically a light carrier. Rest assured, if you have a Kraken with the Ironclad being worked on next year, I have a funny feeling the Kraken is soon behind it. Man, woo! I'm okay.
Attention visitors to the Intergalactic Aerospace Expo. Please take care of you and your vehicles.
Today just feels shorter to me. Yeah. It does. Oh, why am I going this way? Let's go to menu real quick. Oh, please don't freeze. Okay. Man. You know, I am curious when the Kraken will be out. Just saying, guys. You know, because it's an old ship. It's been around forever, right? The Kraken, you know. Kraken's an old ship, been around a long time as a concept. Just an opinion. I wish it would come out soon. Oh my goodness. Good Lord. And I think you're right, Bears. It is supposed to be one of those 1.0 patches, 3.0, 4.0 patches. Good Lord, I can't talk tonight. Whew. Man. I can't talk at all tonight, chat. Holy crap. Right. So, what to do now? Well, I believe. Good question. What can I do tonight? Well, might let my computer rest for a minute. Hang on. Kill the display. Computer's just revving tonight. Flying into other people's hangars. Yeah, okay. That's a good way to get banned. Okay. That's a great idea, kinda, sorta. Maybe. Well, I have an idea. Paul just came out with Paul Shelley, who's Astropub, who is so gracious to sponsor my content, has come out with an excellent video today that just premiered, and I think we need to give him some good old return exposure, guys. So it's on the topic of the complete history of Drake. So, my computer specs? Oh, I think I have it posted somewhere. Sorry, Bears. 32 gigs of RAM. It's going to go to 64. A Ryzen 7 5800X. A 1 terabyte NVMe hard drive, I believe. And I believe a 3060 graphics card for now. I'm going to be doing some shopping when I get enough money, you know. I'm going to let the melodious voice of our lovely Paul, patron saint of Paul,
always seeking greener pastures. We explore and settle even the harshest environments and vigorously
I
defend
love
these
Paul
new
so
homes
much.
with our lives. But we can't do that with determination alone. In the
Please,
universe of
chat.
Star Citizen, one
Before this goes in too deep, pay AstroPub and the Astro Historian, both channels on YouTube, a visit. Give them a like. Tell them Axis 0096 sent you. He is a very comprehensive individual, and he's done a lot for the Star Citizen community. So, with that being said, let's give the stage to Mr. Shelley.
company has risen through the hopes of these very pioneers. Drake Interplanetary.
Let's see what he has to say about our
They've striven
favorite
to help humanity in this
manufacturer.
never-ending endeavor and put the power to prosper in the hands of the common person. My name is Paul Shelley, and welcome to the Astro Historian. This is a channel dedicated to exploring and explaining the lore of sci-fi and space universes and discussing their impact. Today we'll be talking about the universe of Star Citizen, specifically the complete history of the rise to fame of one of the most contentious and beloved manufacturers of the UEE, Drake Interplanetary. To begin our look into this notorious manufacturer, we need to set the context of its creation. The UEE of the mid-29th century was a dangerous and uncertain era. The UEE had greatly declined since the Anti-Mezzer Revolution, with less funding to the military alongside a much less effective navy. Its ships often centuries past their best use. This meant that more and more systems found themselves on their own to deal with outlaws, pirates, and Vanduul raids. For the more populated and wealthy systems, this wasn't much of an issue. But for the systems on the frontier, this was disastrous. Knowing that if the UEE did nothing to stem the crime wave that was erupting on the more distant colonies, the UEE Navy came up with a unique idea. They would place what they called home defense squadrons on these distant worlds, likely militia with some military advisory support. These squadrons would be trained and equipped by the UEE Navy, but operate outside of their command structure, likely relying on merchant marines to resupply and support them, rather than the already stretched logistical structure of the Navy. This was essential, since the collapse of the Mezzers had created what I've dubbed the cargo crisis of the 29th century, where most of the civilian manufacturers of transport craft disappeared after the revolution due to being charged with crimes against
07,
humanity,
Steve.
or its leadership and staff disappearing to avoid
Happy
said
Turkey
trials
Day.
for their close connections to the Mezzer dictatorship. This meant that the Navy could not feasibly support these squadrons like a normal frontline squadron. To go along with this plan, they needed a ship that would be able to support these squadrons effectively, while also being low cost, configurable with civilian modular components, and could be produced rapidly. To make this ship, the Navy created the Volksjager, or People's Fighter Project, in 2845. There were two notable entries into this project: the embattled but civilian shifting Aegis Dynamics, and a team led by a young Terran engineer named Jan Dredge. Aegis would enter their Wildcat fighter design, likely a modification of the venerable Gladius platform, as it shares the same original production name as the Gladius. The Dredge team created what they called the AS-1.
So that was a Gladius variant.
An all-new ship designed for exactly what the UEE was asking for in mind. The AS-1 Cutlass comes in at a length of 37.5 meters, a width of 26.5 meters, and a height of 11.5 meters. This makes it significantly larger than most light and medium fighters, even today. It is about the same size as the more complicated and expensive to maintain, but rugged, Aegis Vanguard, whose modular interior system may have been the inspiration to the Cutlass designers. However, the AS-1 lacks the firepower of a heavy fighter, with 4 pilot-controlled Size 3 gun hardpoints, a manned turret which can hold a pair of Size 3 guns, and missile racks that can hold 8 Size 3 and 16 Size 2 missiles. It is more in line with the F-7A Hornet in terms of combat ability, So the reason for its size wasn't related to its weapons capabilities, but entirely unique to the purpose of the ship: frontier defense. You see, most of the ship is simply cargo space. The AS-1 has the capacity of carrying up to 46 SCU of cargo. This meant that it can carry everything from supplies to a small vehicle. It also has a spacious crew area, which includes a pair of beds, a small kitchenette, 2 storage lockers, and 4 fully functional gun racks. These features make the ship easily
Hey, Dark
capable of
Thorn.
long-range patrol without logistical support. Add to this its impressive quantum and hydrogen tank capabilities, you might start to see that this isn't just a fighter, it's an everything ship. Just enough utility and teeth to reduce the number of ships required to operate in such remote and hazardous environments. Exactly what the defenders of the frontier
It
needed.
really is, OG.
Additionally, the ship is notoriously easy to gain entry to. Apart from its rear ramp, the ship also has a pair of large side doors, ideal for when you need to EVA to recover cargo, salvaging, or rescue operations. To assist in recovery-type missions, the ship had a conveniently placed hardpoint at the rear which holds a Size 1 tractor beam. The ship performed admirably when tested, and the engineers and designers of the ship were proud of their accomplishment. However, the Navy was not. They passed over the AS-1 Cutlass for the Aegis Wildcat, a move which would radically alter the state of ship manufacturing for a century to come. Despite this snub, the Cutlass team were sure that they had a market for this ship. The first people they turned to sell the Cutlass to were private militia groups. UE allows, and some would say encourages, anyone, anywhere to own armed spacecraft. Due to the bleak realities of life outside the core systems, this was far more affordable for the UEE to allow these militia groups, like the famed Bremen Defense Force, to take the place of the Navy and sometimes advocacy personnel. The Cutlass team's plan was that private squadrons in more distant areas of the galaxy would welcome a low-cost spacecraft solution. Regions specifically classified as high insurance risks, the team reasoned, would especially welcome an easier way to replenish lost spacecraft. And they were right. These frontier militia forces saw the Cutlass for what it was: a tool to ensure their family's safety and survival. Thus, sales were phenomenal. Within 9 months, the Cutlass team had opened 6 off-world factories and had licensed dealerships in 9 systems. Within a year, this small team went from their hopes being crushed by the bureaucracy of the UEE military, seen at the time as a corrupt and often useless branch of the government, to successful rebel entrepreneurs that ensured the livelihoods of the common person were protected and thriving. They had become outlaw engineers, snubbing their nose at the ordered society of the core systems and embracing the rugged and can-do attitude of the frontier. However, the reality was far more different than the public imagination. Shortly after this successful release, the team decided that they needed to incorporate in order to continue their growth. Thus, they founded Drake Interplanetary. Lead designer Jan Dredge became CEO, with a 7-member board consisting largely of aerospace engineers who had worked on the project. The name Drake was not the surname of anyone involved in the project, or even had any particularly close meaning like many of the companies founded in the 28th and 29th centuries. Instead, it was selected as an acceptably smooth-sounding name, chosen specifically in the hopes that it would make their spacecraft more appealing. This was the first in a series of money over all decisions that would quickly come to define the company. A later decision was also telling. Rather than expand into the UEE's traditional homeworlds like Earth or Terra, Drake would lean into its own outlaw reputation, while also take advantage of the UEE Navy's biggest failure, when Drake based themselves in the economically embattled system of Magnus, with
Smart
corporate governance and key factories on Berea, Magnus 2. You see, the Magnus system has become the poster child of failed military governance. Shortly after it was discovered, it was earmarked for the UEE military. Magnus's distance from well-traveled space, plus the availability of heavy materials, and the anticipated ease of terraforming Magnus II, resulted in a military-commissioned closed terraforming starting in 2533. By the late 26th century, Magnus had become a large-scale naval base and the source of a great deal of ship construction. This lasted approximately 50 years, until budget cutbacks and desire to focus on operations in other systems, like Killian, led to the large-scale abandonment of Magnus. The result was an eerie, depopulated ghost world, with declining structures full of refining and shipbuilding equipment, considered too expensive to move elsewhere. During this period, the system's population declined to less than 30,000, most of whom had no legal right to their encampments. In 2751, the original military classification for the Magnus system expired, and other colonists were technically allowed to move in. Magnus's colonials were a ragtag group of outbackers, claim jumpers, and an assortment of similar, less savory types, trying to escape their reputations on the core worlds. The result was a system with a reputation for a wild, anything-goes atmosphere, where humans could live along the margins of the law. It has become the wild frontier, despite being a core world, due to the complete failure of the military and the government in giving support to the people of Magnus. Thus, Drake deciding to call the system home in 2845 was a deliberate choice as a statement of antagonism towards the
Like I
UAE
said, folks,
and
be
building
sure
on
to
their
pay
outlaw
Paul Shelley a visit.
However,
And
there is another reason.
tell him
As
Max
there
has sent
almost
you.
always is with Drake. You see, the UAE dry docks and other military-built infrastructure
Man of
was
much
still there,
talent.
unclaimed and unwanted due to the wild nature of the system. Drake knew they could effectively get a discount on valuable infrastructure, which others were too frightened to attempt to seize. This gave them an enormous head start early in their existence, as they were able to refurbish these old facilities and thus increase production much faster than anyone in the industry anticipated. By 2846, the company had quadrupled again. By the 2850s, they were the fifth largest spacecraft manufacturer concern and couldn't license subsystems manufacturers quickly enough. The company was lauded as a massive business success, credited in financial magazines as the little engine that could. Finally, a competitor that would change how companies like Robert Space Industries and Musashi Industrial ran their businesses. From the numbers alone, it looked like everyone would be flying a Cutlass in the 2860s. There was one issue with this success, however. The same features that made the AS-1 Cutlass so popular with frontier militia made it popular with criminals. Quickly, Drake earned the undesired reputation as a manufacturer of spacecraft favored by outlaws and pirates. The company initially addressed these concerns with the launch of the Cutlass Blue in 2860. The Blue is a modification of the base Cutlass, with non-lethal weapons designed to appeal to law enforcement agencies. The Cutlass Blue, also known as the DCB-2, is a modification of the AS-1, which was subsequently renamed the Cutlass Black, or DCB-1. As such, it has the same dimensions as the original, though with heavily modified cockpit and customized interior. These modifications include a fully integrated quantum dampener, which can instantly prevent nearby ships from activating or spooling their quantum drives. Custom Durasteel holding cells that can safely restrain and transport up to 12
I just love how
materials at a
Paul is
time,
so thorough
and hole-mounted
in
emergency
everything.
vehicle lighting that
He
flashes
does
red
so
and blue
well
during pursuits and emergency
on everything.
situations. While the launch of the Blue failed to stifle all criticism, it did manage to successfully generate reasonable doubt among consumers and provide Drake's defenders sufficient ammunition to engage detractors. Though it was clear to CEO Jan Dredge that in order to keep the already antagonistic eyes of the UAE government off of them, they would need to pivot away from combat-focused ships for some time. She was looking towards the future, and in her mind, the future for spaceships was in hauling. The success of the RSI constellation Taurus, after a series of incidents with Hull series ships in the 2830s.
Yeah, I mean, really, Paul is a master OG. Or Steve, it's just ridiculous. He is truly a master
capabilities.
of the craft.
Dredge knew that they could take the same
You know
design
somebody's
principles of the
good when
Cutlass
they know what
and
they're
apply it
doing.
to something much bigger. To capitalize on a gap left in the market for large internal cargo ships, she created the Caterpillar. Coming in at a length of 111.5 meters, a width of 39.5 meters, and a height of 13.4 meters, the ship is extremely long, with most of that space being dedicated to cargo modules. The vessel's cargo is divided into 4 compartments, each with elevators on both sides for independent loading and unloading. The forward cargo bay provides extra storage for open canopy vehicles, with some early models featuring an air shield for pallet transfer and vehicle deployment without decompression. It also includes a manned turret, cargo lift, and navigation sensors. To assist in its main operation, the ship also has several dedicated tractor beam operators. A tractor beam station consists of a terminal that allows for the ship to safely guide debris and even air cargo directly into the side access doors of the cargo modules. Finally, one of the most unique features of the ship is its command module. The Caterpillar's cockpit can act as a ship that can detach from the primary hull and operate independently, transporting multiple Caterpillar hulls or serving as an emergency escape vehicle. Though it seems that later versions lost the ability to redock with the main hull and are now exclusively escape vehicles. The Caterpillar prototype was initially unveiled at the 2871 Intergalactic Aerospace Expo. The ship received a lot of criticism for its old design. Then negativity almost threatened the whole project. It wasn't until reports of the Caterpillar spread through the Empire that the tide began to turn. You see, people were floored by 2 things: the ability to mix and match ship modules and the price. The ship was shockingly affordable to even the smallest cargo outfits, allowing for pressurized internal storage with the option to swap out cargo for other dedicated modules if needed. The ship wasn't just a cargo hauler, but, just like the Cutlass, a valuable utility ship for the everyman. Despite the success of the Caterpillar, the darker side of Drake's reputation with Outlaws was brought into the mainstream once more, following the release of the 2875 documentary Bent Cutlass, that claimed that Drake had knowingly ignored background check flags when selling ships. The documentary detailed an incident when 12 Cutlasses were sold to an intermediary, who later transferred them to an outlaw organization for use in a raid that left 122 people dead on an orbital outpost. Facing renewed criticism, the company decided to attempt to repeat their past successes, introducing what executives termed an infallible Cutlass variant, what would become known as the Cutlass Red. As with the Cutlass Blue, Drake invested a great deal in developing the Red as a bespoke spacecraft. However cynical the inspiration behind the ship's development, the team actually charged with making the project a reality was dedicated to building a spaceborne ambulance that would improve and extend the current standard of care. Like the Blue, the Red would have its own assembly line, producing a significantly altered fuselage, along with a completely different array of weaponry. The idea of turning a militaristic spacecraft into a hospital support ship greatly appealed to the war-weary Drake development team, and slots on the Cutlass Red program were highly sought after. Early on, designers identified that the Cutlass Red could combine 2 previously unrelated roles: ambulance-style supported patient transport and search and rescue. The latter role, previously the domain of military-sponsored heavy equipment like the RSI Apollo series, was becoming increasingly necessary, as the technology to make survival in a space wreck or other catastrophe was improving greatly across the latter half of the 29th century. With more and more crews able to survive the destruction of their spacecraft and a corresponding increase in space combat occurring on the edges of the Empire, the Cutlass Red was seen as a great opportunity to not only sell well, but also make a positive impact on the verse. Drake assigned a full development team to each role and developed a mediating process for interfacing the 2 roles into a single ship. Using the Cutlass Blue as the basis for the hull of the Red, each group was ordered and budgeted to develop a single keystone innovation that would help the Red stand apart on a professional level. The ambulance team opted to partner with the up-and-coming medical manufacturer, Bioticorp, to be the first ship to install their new AutoDock medical bed that would fit into the extended.
Yo, Soul Citizens, welcome, welcome. We're watching Paul Shelley's newest piece of artwork. It's beautiful, folks.
Scanner system. The Navi
Thank
7
you
would give
for the
Red
raid,
edge
Soul
in identifying
Citizens.
and safely maneuvering around patients in three-dimensional space, managing to advance scanner clarity 23% from the industry standard using only available components. Both role-specific projects proceeded extremely well, and because they focused
Paul
on
poured
building
his
out
heart
different
and soul
areas of
into
the
this,
ship,
folks.
needed
Yes, he
little
did.
mediation when adapted to the final hull design. In all,
Thank you for the
conversion
follow,
of the Cutlass Blue
DJ
into the Cutlass Red
Siskosis.
concept took only 11 months, with a fully constructed Red production prototype flying its first round of space trials in September 2876. The Cutlass Red's road to acceptance was rockier than the Blues, though, as the initial marketing campaign fell comparatively flat. Drake enlisted actor Don Shadow, then starring as Dr. W. Robin Simpkins on the top-rated Spectrum drama Situation Emergency, as the spacecraft's official spokesperson. In an uncharacteristic series of advertisements, Shadow addressed the audience directly and invited them to sit down with him for a, quote, very serious conversation, unquote, in which he extolled the new Cutlass model's virtues. Quote, ask yourself, do you want to put your life in the hands of an inferior scanner array? Unquote. He then informed viewers that they could request prepared correspondence to petition their local emergency services organization to purchase the spacecraft. The ads did not feature the ship itself and were widely panned as disingenuous by audiences. Aerospace analysts and mainstream comedians alike had a field day with the Cutlass Red before it had even taken flight. Then, in another example of Drake's extraordinary luck, laughter turned to applause within days of the Cutlass Red's first sale. In spite of the failed marketing campaign and overall negative perception of the project, Drake opted to continue with the planned launch in April 2877, believing that the investment could easily be made up due to the Cutlass Red's practical superiority in its role. With little event surrounding the initial release, first-month sales were limited. Then,
So has anyone in chat bought anything this IAE? Out of curiosity, while we're just listening to the melodic voice of Paul.
Penetrating both ships' hulls and setting off a case of improperly stored explosives aboard the station that caused significant further damage. Dozens were killed immediately, and hundreds were left stranded. The ensuing explosion destroyed the station's vacuum hangars, emergency spacecraft, and medical supplies, forcing emergency services on low to put together a makeshift response themselves. The centerpiece of that response became a flight of 36 brand new Cutlass Red spacecraft that had just arrived for sale. Local forces deputized the ships.
It did deserve better,
with
OG.
anyone available to help. The familiar Cutlass controls allowed local pilots to make easy use of the Reds during the emergency. The situation was tailor-made for Spectrum stories, with the force of newly painted bright red Cutlasses riding to the rescue and ultimately stabilizing and transporting back and forth dozens of patients who would have otherwise been lost. Drake's marketing knew to capitalize on the situation, ensuring that footage of the rescue appeared wherever possible. Gone immediately were the concerns that the Cutlass Red was a cynical public relations ploy, replaced with the understanding that it truly was the next evolution of medical support spacecraft. So rapid and so significant was the Cutlass Red's turn to favor that actor Shadow credited the spacecraft as part of the reason for his move from Spectrum series to successful film roles. Following the Corel Customs rescue, sales of the Cutlass Red doubled month over month for 2 years. Drake was forced to move from a single production line to a dedicated factory, building only Cutlass Reds. Even more important has been the long-term impact of the Cutlass ambulance concept on both aerospace design and emergency services. While the initial metrics for the Red were based only on the need to use a similar interior layout to the existing Blue, its rise in importance has led to countless third-party adaptations, including specialized medical components and massive designs. the bed and work area design into the Cutlass Red has become an industry standard unit that has gone on to define everything from loading docks to scanner mounts on dozens of different manufacturers' spacecraft. Inside the company, there was both a palpable sense of relief and a true sense that the Cutlass team had done something important. The team at Drake wasn't done with their advances in non-combat craft, however. With 2 ships released under their brand, Drake was starting to think of not just single one-off ships, but a whole self-supporting array of vessels, allowing for a Drake ship for every situation someone might need. With that in mind, their first step into this field was an unusual one, possibly the first commercially available anti-gravity vehicle of the UEE, the Dragonfly. Released in 2882, the Drake Dragonfly comes in at 7 meters long, 2.5 meters wide, and 2 meters tall, supporting a pilot and rear-facing passenger seat. This fast Gravlev bike was built to act as a scout for industrial and militia operations, and specifically to be designed to fit in both the Cutlass Black and the Caterpillar, effectively extending their ground operational range. The true genius of this design was the work done by the same electronics team that worked on the Cutlass Red Navi 7. They built a brand new bespoke ground interface to allow for the Gravlev bike to function properly, likely being the first to build such a system. The success of the Dragonfly is best understood when one of the first versions was purchased by a colonist on Oya 3, a planet with a joint Xi'an and human colonization. This colonist came to visit their Xi'an neighbors with their new Dragonfly. Impressed with what they saw, the Xi'an of Oya 3 quickly purchased Dragonflies of their own, finding them immensely enjoyable to operate. You see, despite having mastered the art of anti-gravity in ways humanity can't even dream of, the Xi'an had never imagined the idea of a Gravlev bike. This interaction led to the creation of the now famous Nox by Aopoa, a rare example of human ingenuity inspiring an alien design. In 2884, the Vanduul would return on the scene in a big way, with their sudden invasion of the Caliban system. The UEE attempted to keep back the invasion for almost a month before giving up and effectively abandoning the system to the alien invasion.
Sad face.
This corresponded with increased aggression along the border between human and Vanduul space, causing more anxiety amongst those living on the frontier. You see, this was the first major incursion after the fall of the Mezzers, and it proved that the Navy didn't seem up to task of protecting the vulnerable systems. Add to this, any attempt to bolster the border with the Vanduul would pull forces away from other outlaw-stricken systems. Either way, it would be the frontier that was going to bear the burden of the mistakes and underperformance of the UEE. So in 2887, Drake would answer these concerns, while they continued
the
their
Buccaneer
mandate to create a full family of complementary vehicles, by returning to building their first pure combat ship since the Cutlass Blue, the Buccaneer. Coming in at a length of 15.25 meters, a width of 16.75 meters, and a height of 5.5 meters, the Buccaneer is a purebred fighter. Technically a medium interceptor, this ship was designed with 2 major goals: get as many guns as possible on its frame and make it as fast as possible. The ship lacks in maneuverability, but its straight-line speed makes it one of the fastest fighters on the market, able to keep up with some pure racing vessels. It also has an insane amount of firepower for a ship of its compact size, sporting 2 size 3 missile hardpoints, 2 size 1 weapon hardpoints on the wingtips, 2 size 3 weapon hardpoints under the wing near the fuselage, and a single size 4 weapon hardpoint located at its center line on the top of the ship. All of this was built into the same simple yet reliable design style that had become the hallmark of the Drake design. It was almost tailor-made to answer the concerns of those vulnerable systems, either to Vanduul invasion or rise in outlaw violence. Drake leaned into this, continuing their rebel persona by calling out the UEE for its failures and advertising to those most vulnerable systems that the Buccaneer was the solution to their problems, not bloated government corruption. It was a tactic that worked wonders, with the Buccaneer becoming a common sight on the frontier.
Wow.
On the 9th of August 2895, an incident would take place. The Terra-flagged whole-sea freighter, Empire Slipper, suffered what was later determined to be an unlikely cascade of system failures, which resulted in the bridge terminals receiving a completely incorrect set of navigation overlays. The error caused the Slipper's navigation officer to chart a course into a dense asteroid belt, with a close proximity to the danger zone of a red giant's corona. A debris strike subsequently disabled the aging freighter's shield generators and, unfortunately, delivered a dose of fatal radiation to the crew. Empire Slipper was left adrift, its specific location unknown. As the freighter was known to be carrying a wealth of precious metals and a consignment of rare artwork, intense media interest and massive search and rescue operations followed. After 8 months of searches, a UEN picket ship identified the wreckage of the Slipper adrift in an irradiated debris field, putting an end to the conspiracy theories that the freighter had been hijacked. However, it quickly became clear that the region was practically inaccessible to any dedicated salvage ship with enough protection to survive the operation. MISC, the transport's builder, offered a 10 million credit bounty to anyone capable of recovering the black box data recorder in an effort to explain what happened. Unexpectedly, upstart space manufacturer Drake Interplanetary came to the rescue. Seeking both the bounty and the salvage rights, the Slipper's cargo, an elite team convened on Berea to create a makeshift spacecraft capable of solving this particular problem. The basis for this one-off construction was an old, existing AS-1 Cutlass prototype, the Vertical Landing Test 3, or VLT-3. With all testing equipment removed, VLT-3 quickly became a specialized platform intended to reach the Empire Slipper
The Vulture!
and recover its cargo. Heavy shield generators replaced much of the prototype's ship's standard cargo capacity, and a pair of versatile remote manipulator arms were bolted onto the prow. The result was something unlike any other spacecraft currently flying, an over-shield, underpowered amalgamation that was small enough to navigate to the debris field while keeping its crew of two safe. What's
Vulture.
more, VLT-3 could engage
Vulture.
in the necessary salvage operations using its external arms without requiring EVA, which was made impossible by the amount of radiation involved. 14 months after the Empire Slipper disappeared, Drake's test crew began salvage operations from a hastily established modular space station positioned just outside the danger zone. Over the course of 36 perilous expeditions, VLT-3 repeatedly entered the debris field and carefully removed the Slipper's flight recorders, and then, one by one, the valuable cargo containers. Drake claimed and received salvage rights for the valuable cargo, and promptly delivered the recovered flight recorders to MISC. However, the promised 10 million credits did not materialize, as Drake executives were ultimately taken to court over the bounty when it was discovered that they had covertly opened and copied the flight data aboard a runner ship before passing it along. The success of VLT-3's mission wasn't only beneficial to Drake's bottom line. Public fascination with the lost freighter gave the company's recovery mission significant airplay, and was seen as a positive reprieve for the corporation, which was still battling accusations of profiting from piracy. For a time, Drake was seen as a positive, if rough, force, just as the small personal spacecraft market was beginning to heat up. To play off this success, the company sent VLT-3, its paint seared off and hull covered with micrometeoroid impacts, on a 9-system PR tour to be displayed at aerospace shows and museum exhibits. Excitement over the feat faded, and Drake soon found itself once again mired in controversy. The VLT-3 was put back into storage just as the corporation was again accused of supporting piracy following the coordinated destruction of a MISC Hull D by 4 unmarked cutlasses. The company seemed to have little interest in the formal development of a salvage ship and instead moved to focus onto the Caterpillar command ship concept, one that we have yet to see. The ultimate mark of Drake's success in the 29th century occurred the same year as the incident with the Empire Slipper and the VLT-3, when the United Empire of Earth purchased an order of 300 Cutlass Reds for use as fleet support. Though a minor order in the scheme of things, the idea that the same UEE that once turned down the Cutlass Black and forced Drake to quote, go their own way, unquote, would purchase Cutlass Reds directly was seen as an indication that Drake was succeeding in spite of the roadblocks that had been tossed in front of them. The Navy has continued to buy small numbers of cutlasses in the years since, outfitting many planetside military hospitals with the ships in an attempt to maintain the same standard as civilian agencies. They have, as of yet, refused to contract hardened militarized versions for frontline service, favoring the larger and more expensive RSI Apollo instead. By the end of the 29th century, Drake was living high on their achievements. They had gone from a scrappy startup to one of the largest ship manufacturers in the UAE. Though not without their controversy, their contributions to society seemed to vastly outweigh their shady actions in pursuit of monetary goals. Heading into the 30th century with their heads held high and their wallets filled with credits, Drake would mostly coast on their achievements from the previous century, steadily increasing their sales of the new suite of ships. However, as a new century began, a new crime wave, often aided by the use of Drake ships, was in full swing. As a result, there was a call for a new generation of data runners, who were particularly vulnerable to being attacked for their precious cargo, with data being often as important, if not more important, than commodities or credits. You see, as there is no faster-than-light communications in the UAE, data is transferred between star systems through comm relays. This system was designed to relay encrypted messages between various relay stations in a system. When those messages arrived at a jump point, they'd be uploaded to a probe and then be sent through the jump point, dock with the station on the other side, and then the messages could continue to be transmitted. Since the system was slow, many companies and individuals sent their messages instead by data running ships, which would upload their data into their own servers before traveling directly to the location to hand off the data. However, most of the ships that specialized in these operations were expensive to buy, expensive to maintain, or both. Thus, data from the frontier to the core systems was often difficult, with little to no infrastructure to transmit these messages. That was where Drake stepped in. In 2913, Drake set about solving both the issue of lack of infrastructure and the expense of infra running by combining the two into a single package, the Drake Herald. Coming in at 24.75 meters long, 12.5 meters wide, and 9 meters tall, the ship has been described as an engine with servers, an antenna, and a seat strapped to it. Its powerful central engine allows for high-speed transit, while also generating the power needed for effective data encryption and containment. With advanced encryption software and armored computer core developed by the same in-house team that developed the NAV E7, the Herald is unique among personal spacecraft in that it is designed to be easily cleaned when in danger of capture.
Gladius, honestly, even though I love the Buccaneer,
for delivery or
it's not my favorite.
M6A1 high-power broadcast array allows long-range data transmission for both communication and emergency purposes, effectively allowing it to become an ad hoc relay station. It even has advanced rated EMP shielding and backup power systems to avoid total power loss in an EMP blast. All of this makes the ship fast, survivable, and at a price that is affordable compared to its competitors. Needless to say, the Herald quickly became another staple of the frontier. Adding to its favorability, its speed is almost exactly the same as the Buccaneer, allowing for the synergy of ships that Drake had been trying to make. Thus, it isn't an uncommon sight to see a flight of Buccaneers escorting a Herald through rough areas of space to deliver everything from digital letters to sensitive ledgers. As the 30th century continued, Drake decided to once more innovate on their designs, aiming at an untapped market which, up to that point, had been dominated by the RSI Aurora, the beginner ship market. Seeing an opportunity to make a ship with all of the style and affordability of maintenance that became synonymous with Drake, in 2920 they set about to create their own starter vessel, the Cutter. The Cutter has a length of 20 meters, a width of 16 meters, and a height of 6 meters. It boasts a cargo capacity of 4 SCU and is equipped with ample power to tackle just about any challenge. With its classic, rugged, and versatile design, the Cutter is designed to be flexible, versatile, tough, and user-friendly, even supporting a minimal yet comfortable living quarters. What really makes the ship stand out amongst the competition is its cargo bay and its fuel capacity. While having less cargo capacity than the standard Aurora, the cutter's cargo is internal and large enough to comfortably carry a small land vehicle, thus extending the range and flexibility to any starting pilots looking to get away. It aids those getaways with its fuel capacity, with over double the quantum fuel capacity of the Aurora and almost 5 times
That's
the Aurora's
neat.
hydrogen capacity. This also meant that the ship was slightly more expensive than the Aurora, though that didn't seem to discourage many on the frontier from buying the ship, as it allowed for much more versatility and being easier to repair than its competition in the harsh realities of frontier life. In 2932, an Aegis Dynamics reclaimer, the General Dogsbody, made history with the single most profitable salvage mission in human history, when it discovered and recovered a failed 22nd century colony ship adrift in deep space. The ship's crew became millionaires and minor celebrities overnight, and the event prompted much greater interest in the previously uncelebrated task of space salvage. As interest in salvage boomed and crews began pooling money to purchase their own reclaimer platforms, Drake executives realized they already had a more appealing option in their back pocket. A team of aerospace engineers led by Drake's in-house designer, Sod Perkins, began work on developing the VLT-3 concept into a standalone salvage craft. While the new design would be built from the ground up and wouldn't need a heavy shielding of the original, the overall layout and functionality would remain surprisingly similar to the prototype. The early manipulator arms were replaced with what Drake has ultimately called Rippers, standalone salvage booms supported by lariat tractor beams and atomium scrapper rig. These booms would allow for the craft, soon named the Vulture, to identify, move, and cut space salvage, and then store it in the ship's rear bay. Like the VLT-3, the production Vulture was oriented around shipboard controls rather than EVA support. The crew capacity was reduced from 2 to 1, reinforcing the idea that a single pilot could operate a Vulture, and potentially make their fortune the same way the Dogsbody crew had. A small rear living section would allow for solo operator to endure long voyages, as salvage sites were rarely close to well-traveled space lanes. Finally, the Vulture would feature maneuvering thrusters and an overhead shield generator to enable it to make careful movements, not possible with larger ships like the Reclaimer. Drake premiered the Vulture in 2938, with marketing that called back to the success of the VLT-3, including stylizing the ship's name as the VULTUR-3, or Vulture with the VLT capitalized and a 3 at the end instead of an E. Public interest in salvage and personal fortune-seeking continued, and orders quickly outpaced production capacity at Berea. Within 8 months, Drake was forced to open 2 remote factories to meet demand. While the company was roundly accused of overpromising inexperienced captains the chance at incredible profits by competing manufacturers, Vultures immediately found success with the discovery of several high-profile hulls. These included a Genesis Starliner long thought to be destroyed, and 2 Hull A's that had collided and spun away from their planned routes in an unexpected manner. These stories were major news and prompted continued interest in the Vulture. In 2941, Drake launched the first updated model of the Vulture. While the first civilian release had been completely unarmed, the 2941 model had a pair of size 1 weapon mounts, which appealed to pilots who would be flying the ship in unsafe and unexplored areas of the galaxy. In 2943, the United Empire of Earth Navy requisitioned 300 Vultures for battlefield support operations. The military versions weren't hardened and didn't feature additional weapons, as they were never intended for use in combat. Delivery of these ships began the following year, where they immediately saw service with the fleet support arm, clearing destroyed spacecraft in the wake of an ever-increasing battles with the Van Duel. Drake has continued to develop the government version of the Vulture, as expectation is large-scale naval battles will only increase in frequency and fervor in the years to come. And the most recent civilian update was made for the 2949 model, with the launch of the now standard extended cab, which ups internal cargo capacity from 8 to 12 CU.
Well, the Vulture is still a useful ship. It's going to be important to people earning money, you know?
A similar process has been made available for adding weapon mounts to the initial 2938 version. By the 2940s, the Dragonfly had become a staple of popular culture, with Drake even doing a tie-in promotion with the popular Star Kitten brand. The Star Kitten is an animated series created by animation auteur Gendy Kuzo First. It was first premiered in 2932 and immediately warmed the hearts of citizens of all ages. Sally is the star of the Star Kitten lineup. She loves speed racing across the verse with her friends. Doesn't matter who wins or loses, to Sally, all that matters is fun and friendship. Drake would make the Star Kitten themed bike in collaboration with the cartoon, with its design inspired by Sally. It would launch in 2947 to commemorate the 15th anniversary of her character. This same year, Drake was hit with another setback to its reputation. In an undercover job interview, the company's CEO, Jan Dredge, was recorded making a controversial statement about selling Cutlass Black to known piracy groups. After which, family members of piracy victims expressed their outrage by calling for a ban on the Drake Cutlass. On April 6, 2947, Drake Interplanetary released a press statement in which they apologized for the comments made by Jan Dredge and were announcing that she is retiring as CEO of the company to spend more time with her family. Her son, John Dredge, would fulfill her duties as acting CEO until a replacement could be found. And in early 2948, that replacement was found. Drake called a press conference in Odessa to introduce Andon Arden as the new CEO. Arden has led several companies through transitions, often as an interim CEO, which gave him a reputation as a fixer. As last CEO of Waldval Aerospace, a small specialty ship manufacturer that was struggling, Andon Arden sold off all the patents and intellectual property of the company until it was eventually absorbed by ArtCorp and dissolved. Controversially, it is claimed that the remaining board members, including Arden, received a healthy payout, while the other employees were terminated.
I already don't
nothing,
like him.
Though he has claimed that he did everything he could to avoid that situation.
Don't like
In his
this
first
guy.
act as CEO, Arden condemned the use of Drake's ships by outlaws. And
Oh, I'm
instituted a
sure you
policy that
would.
all sales associates attend a mandatory training session every year that reviews their company policy, alongside the empire-wide law. In this statement, he also outlined his vision for the future of the company. He believed that Drake has a knack for creating affordable and durable ships, yet it's hardworking men and women that crisscross the empire flying with these ships that were his main concern. He said that, quote, "Without them, we're just pushing metal," unquote. Arden stated that he wanted to make Drake the company for the people, making reliable, affordable, and empowering ships, highlighting the Vulture as the direction he wanted to take the company towards. His vision for Drake was less focused on combat and more focused on support, with his first true act being the announcement of the most ambitious vehicle Drake has ever manufactured, the Kraken.
Oh boy.
An astounding 270 meters long,
Release the
140 meters
Kraken!
wide, and 64 meters tall. The Kraken is a multi-role carrier designed with the average person in mind. With its massive 3,792 SEU of cargo capacity, twin all-purpose hangar bays, ample living accommodations, and even an internal tram, the ship is more like a mobile space station than a pure carrier. However, it still has some serious bite, with its 6 landing pads, 4 small and 2 mediums, along with its 5-man turrets and 4 remote turrets. It even comes standard with dedicated Dragonfly Bay, capable of launching any small hover vehicle. While the Kraken was impressive on its own, Drake didn't stop there. They approached a well-known ship customizer with their plans for the Kraken, one who would change the trajectory of the ship forever: Cousin Crow. The story of Cousin Crow was the main reason why Drake would make this offer. Nampo Vasco was born in 2883 in the city of New Junction on Low in the Corel system. From a young age, he lived on the edge of society, falling into a life of crime after his mother sold him to a Banu Suli to pay off her gambling debts. This Suli was a chop shop, specializing in stripping stolen ships and selling the parts. So the young man went to work, learning the inside and out of every ship the Suli ever acquired. It was this time with the Banu that made him an impressive mechanic and engineer that he would become. But the ship that made him fall in love with ships was the 2884 Cutlass Black. Even after paying off his debts to the Banu, he would return to work with them, becoming an expert in modifying ships, especially smuggler ships. While a lot of his early designs for scan-proof smuggling compartments failed, he eventually earned a reputation for these custom jobs, one that would lead to his arrest by the Advocacy in 2904 in a sting operation. During his time in jail, his boisterous and affable nature allowed him to avoid the gangs that ran the prison. It was this and his jet black hair that earned him the nickname Cousin Crow. Once he was released, he used his connections from prison to slowly work his way into a legitimate business.
That's
repairing and
interesting.
modifying ships.
So
with his
he's
own
the man
shop.
behind
His
Cousin Crow.
reputation grew as his skills were well recognized, and
Very
slowly his
interesting.
shop became known for being both a safe haven and a good place to look for work for ex-cons who wanted to start on the straight and narrow after prison. Cousin Crow's big break came in 2942, after partnering with a luxury tour line company who modified an old Genesis Starliner into the ultimate party ship.
Hey, you have a
The
good
massive
night,
marketing
Bears.
campaign saturated
Catch you on the
spectrum
flip
images
side,
of
brother.
Starliner, and the famous tagline, "So much fun, it should be illegal." This made Cousin Crow's a name in the ship conversion circles across the empire. Not long after, Drake executives invited him to visit their headquarters on Magnus. There, they showed Cousin Crow their plans for their first capital ship and offered him a chance to make an exclusive livery for the launch. Cousin Crow countered with an even bolder idea. Over the years, many of his clients had hired him to convert their ship's holds into Banu-like marketplaces. Rather than have to do it in an aftermarket retrofit, how much better would it be if he could work with Drake directly? The executives loved the idea, and soon the Kraken Privateer was born. Being a Drake superfan, Cousin Crow took to the task like a seasoned professional and chose one of the cargo bays for his conversion. His experience and love for Drake making it easy to match the iconic Drake styling, while adding the functionality of the Banu marketplaces he knew so well from his time in Suli. In the end, he created a fusion of Banu market sensibilities with Drake's rugged and people-first design language. It was clear that Andon Arden's desire to push the brand forward and away from the mistakes of the past mirrored the checkered past of Cousin Crow, hoping that the public would see their move to have a reformed criminal helping them create their most ambitious project to date reflect on their own attempt to rehabilitate the brand away from the outlaw to the common man. However, Drake Rebrand didn't stop there. They had their sights set on their old nemesis, the UAE Navy. For years, due to their reputation, Drake had been pushed out of any and all Invictus ship show celebrations. The reasons were that Drake didn't have any ships in the Navy, despite both Cutlass Reds and Vultures being used by the Navy in non-combat roles and other non-combat and support manufacturers
that seems
being
kind of
welcomed into
lame.
these ship show celebrations. So in 2950, Drake decided to form their own convention, taking place nearby an Invictus celebration in the Stanton system at the end of the official celebrations of the Navy, calling it Drake Defense Con. The goal of the Defense Con can be summed up by its tagline, something to the effect of, "When the fleet moves on, who will be there to defend you?" The convention was part showcase and part marketing stunt to help them align themselves with the common person of the UAE. They were taking advantage of this strained relationship with the Navy, who had drastically scaled back their efforts to keep the peace outside of the frontier with the Vandal War, and placing themselves as the answer to the fears of a rise in crime all over the UAE. This was most notably seen in the Stanton system itself, with the Jumptown Wars, the Siege of Orison, and the Xenothreat incursions. Andon Arden wasn't quite done yet, though. It was at this first Defense Con that he unveiled a new ship to the verse, the Corsair, and a
the
new market
Corsair.
for Drake to plant its flag in, exploration. Coming at a length of 53 meters, a width of 30 meters, and a height of 25 meters, the Corsair was roughly the same size as the RSI Constellation series, being a direct competitor to its Aquila line. However, the ship would absolutely smash its competition in the most Drake way possible: price and firepower. Sporting 4 fixed size 5 weapon hardpoints, 2 fixed size 4 weapon hardpoints, 2 manned and 1 remote twin size 2 turrets, and 4 size 4 missile hardpoints. The Corsair was more reliable than just about every exploration ship on the market. It pairs this firepower with luxurious accommodations for the captain and crew.
So they
more than
say,
numerous
exploration,
large
so
cargo
they
bays that will
say.
support a vehicle or 72 SCU of cargo. It also has a dedicated airlock room with suit and weapon storage to allow for any kind of EVA requirements. Drake didn't stop with just one new market, though. Following the Corsair release, a year later in 2951, with another version of the Cutlass, this being a dropship for the people. The Drake Cutlass Steel installed more guns, specifically door guns and a rear-mounted turret, along with 18 jump seats for armed and armored passengers. While early versions of the ships were criticized for being under-armored and slow compared to their counterparts, later corrections would see Drake win some acclaim back amongst dropship pilots. And Arden's Drake was firing on all cylinders from here on, releasing yet another new vehicle to the market in 2019.
How you doing, Admiral Kusanagi, if you're still
the Mule
there?
is a six-wheeled dependable workhorse for all sorts of loading
Hope you're doing well.
jobs. Being able to be operated by a single driver, it has a forklift capable of lifting one SCU box and loading it onto a ship, along with transporting 6 smaller crates and items. Its compact design means it can fit in ships as small as the Cutter, and its all-terrain wheels allow it to traverse over the toughest the verse can throw at it. Drake had made a frontier forklift, and once again was defying convention. Speaking of the Cutter, the next move by the Arden-led Drake was to revive the line, creating 2 new variants, the Rambler and the Scout. The Rambler was designed with durability, adaptability, and ease of use as its core principles.
Right.
The ship is equipped with essential features such as additional fuel tank, a food maker, storage for armor, and ample cargo space. The Scout enhances the Cutter's combat and utility capabilities through the incorporation of an upgraded weapons and scanning components, its main draw being its supercharged radar capabilities, likely thanks to the team who created the Navi 7. These new variants corresponded with an update and overhaul of the main Cutter as well, which has...
I know, the Rambler's great.
One of the most popular
Hey, welcome back, Luna.
Leading to a massive
welcome
increase
back
by the manufacturer. This explosion of innovation and productivity wasn't done yet, though. As of this year, 2954, they've announced yet another new ship to help fill out
the Ironclad
ships, the super hauler called the Ironclad. Coming in at 120 meters long, 52 meters wide, and 20 meters tall, the Ironclad is best described as a large cargo bay with engines. An expansive cargo bay takes up the majority of the ship's interior, capable of holding 1,536 SCU. It also comes standard with both a main ramp and retracting roof for inserting cargo from the outside and protecting it on the inside, a smaller cargo area that can store valuable or dangerous cargo, and a spacious garage in the back that allows for a variety of vehicles. To make its job easier, the base Ironclad also comes equipped with 3 size 2 tractor beams, able to load exterior cargo through its roof. It comes standard with a command module that can be detached from the main hull and used as an independent ship, and serves as the ship's escape pod. It boasts thick armor and array of weapons, from 4 size 4 missile racks, a size 5 and a size 3 manned turret, 2 size 3 remote turrets, and even a size 2 interior remote turret for defense against boarders. Additionally, Drake announced a separate version of the Ironclad called the Assault. The main difference with the Assault compared to the base was the addition of 2 new size 3 quad remote turrets, an assault ramp, rearm and refuel garage, 34 jump seats, and a component fabrication device. This was at the cost of the tractor beams and almost 400 SCU of cargo space. Drake is a polarizing company, with many either loving them or hating them for a variety of reasons. No matter what, it is clear by now that this once scrappy, rebellious outlaw manufacturer is here to stay. Beloved by many as true champion of the everyman, while also managing to secure a maximum amount of profits along the way. This duality of Drake Interplanetary is likely going to continue, being both a profit-chasing, cynical corporation and a company that seeks to give power to the people. I'd like to thank you for watching, and if you enjoyed this video, think about hitting that like button, subscribing for more content, and hitting the bell icon to be notified when these release. These take a ton of time to research and edit. So
yeah, poor Paul.
Really helps tell
Paul is so tired.
Other fans of lore content and Star Citizen. Drake is one of my favorite manufacturers in the verse.
Yeah, it was a great ride. Ironclad is in reference to the old Ironclad ships.
Makes for an enticing anti-hero for the verse, and I love me a good.
It's not a paper towel brand.
Adding to this,
the Ironclad ships were some of the more interesting ships.
With the
I'll put it that
design
way.
as I'm certain that anyone can identify what kind of manufacturer Drake is at a glance of their ships.
Yeah.
Two more small things I wanted to add about the lore of Drake, which I couldn't find a way to put into the video without breaking the flow. The first being a lost lore ship mentioned in the consolidated Outland portfolio of all places, a prototype Drake ship called the Lobster, which Silas Kerner has in his private collection.
Yep.
I'd really like to see or hear what this mysterious Drake Lobster was at some point. Secondly, there's a saying in the lore, which once I mention it, you'll likely not be able to unsee it, that goes, every ship Drake makes is just a different version of the Cutlass. For instance, the Caterpillar is just the Cutlass Long, the Buccaneer is the Cutlass Combat, and the Cutter is the Cutlass Light, and so on. This is important because Drake will randomly show up in other stories in the verse, applying for a military contract, only for their submission to be rejected for being just another Cutlass by the Navy. Just some neat little side things about Drake. I'd also like to thank those on screen now.
Isn't that Bounty, though?
If you want to throw in a few credits, think about becoming a member on YouTube.
Isn't that Bounty, though?
Join the
I'm just saying.
Patreons and Ko-fi members get early.
It's a great ride, wasn't it, Steve?
Including exclusive early access to my long-running complete history of Star
Steve,
Wars
Paul puts a lot
those
of
out
work
now on the top right.
into these videos, so you know what? I'm gonna give him a like for that. It's a great video. I strongly recommend everybody follow this. This was an hour-plus long video, folks. Oh, well, he's more or less basically the guru of Star Citizen lore fan-wise. They have a full lore team, Paul, Steve, but he, a lot of people likes Paul's take on things because he's really thorough, you know, really thorough. Steve, Paul's really thorough with how he does his stuff. Always has been. I highly recommend everybody who watched the video, if you haven't already, follow our boy, the Astro Historian, and also his other channel. If it'll cooperate. Yeah, it's not being nice for some reason. Uh-oh. It didn't go right. Okay, so the Astro Historian's his channel. He also has... I know it's here. Probably here. There we go. He's also got the Spice Must Roll, Astropub, and Astrovots. Yeah. Steve is a massive force in the Star Citizen community. He really, he gets many things done. I only hope someday I could be as good at telling stories and writing stuff as well as he can, because man, whew, I know I need some work. Yep. Ooh. Yeah. Anyways, chat, I will be right back. I gotta get a drink of water after. Armor all. One of them's not rusty, Luna. There's a good joke. That would be armor all because the other one's not rusty. Be right back. Gotta get some water. Should be more than a minute or so. Nothing. She'll be back. Woo. Fell over. Okay. Come back, chat. Back I am. Whew. All right. I'm back. Ironclad. Jeez. Terrible, but it is funny. That is funny. Yeah. That is funny, though. So, OG. Still hanging with us, Steve? Right. I'm half around. Yeah. That's funny. Okay. So, anyways, I really enjoyed that piece put together by Paul. Definitely one of the better Star Citizen videos that the community has put together. I only hope someday I can be that good. Man. Yeah. Good job, Steve. That's good. You know, honestly, I bought an oddball ship. We're going to wrap up going into the game one final time tonight. And we're going to look around in the Crusader Intrepid. I myself have not been on board the Intrepid at all. So, even when it was, you know, on the show floor. So we're going to do this, finish up with that. I don't think it's going to change my mind on the position I have with the ship, but we'll see. All right. He's also on Twitch, Steve, just so you know. So, yeah. So. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Come on. Where this thing loads. It's lower every year. That's okay. So it's sunset here again. How are you doing, Shimpasta? Greetings in 07, my friend. We just watched Paul's showing of the Drake Interplanetary video. It was really good. How about yourself? Now, we've already seen IAE, or really, yeah. Poor Shimpasta, he actually missed something today. Sorry. No refunds. Kidding. Kidding.
Capsule now approaching station. Stand clear of disembarking passengers. The capsule will be leaving the station momentarily. Careful, doors are now closing.
Which one, Shimpasta? Where? Did you go to a bar, citizen? For a meet and greet? Great. My day was good. Did you go to a bar citizen? Or something? Oh, so you bar hopped for a bit. That sounds fun. was for family and friends. Yeah. Gotcha. Hey, you have a mind-numbing headache? What in the world is going on here? Those are some interesting glitches. Yeah. This glitch, the walls were eating me, chat. Oh my gosh. What was that? Terrible. You don't like socializing IRL? That was weird. Well, no more weird when the train decides to yeet itself into space. Remember those bugs? Those were fun. Some dude on stream opened up the train and he was stuck in space and somebody had to get him. I forget who it happened to. Who did it happen to? I wasn't. No, it was recent, about a year or so ago. Right? Well, whoever it was, I think it was Avenger 1, he basically got yeeted above Microtech, and somebody had to come rescue him. He basically bailed out of this train. Yeah, it was funny. It was either Avenger or somebody else. I can't remember who. Pretty big streamer, though. I just remember seeing the train leave the track, and he's like, the guy on stream's like, what just happened? And now the game just went serious lag. Wow. Wow. Look at this.
From all of us at Microtech, welcome to the new Babbage Interstellar Spaceport. Microtech, the Empire.
Yeah, it was. Today was Drake. I think tomorrow is Origin. Wow, I can't go anywhere near the elevators. Holy cow.
Remember, your belongings belong to you. Keep a careful.
Wow, I can't even go near my elevator. Wow. Let me double check. All I'm doing is checking out the Intrepid, which, as I call it, the ugly duckling, for obvious reasons. It's ugly. Let's be real. It's ugly. There ain't no fixing that ugly. I mean, sure, they could stick a size 5 on it, but would it really help? What on... Oh. Is that my ship?
Welcome to the ASOP Vehicle Control System.
What? Whose ship is that? Huh. I guess it is my ship. Okay. Sure. Store?
Please visit us again.
Yeah. Yeah, I've heard the elevators have been whacked for a bit. Okay. So... Nocturne. Ooh, the Nocturne comes equipped. Okay. The dark colored paint. Okay. So we have the Oblivion and the Nocturne. Fusion. The Altair, by the way, is the standard Crusader look.
Welcome to the ASOP Vehicle Retrieval System. Your vehicle has been delivered to the following location. Please visit us again. Goodbye.
So they've been doing that for a while, Shimpasta? Causing issues? The elevators? Just out of curiosity. Have they been causing issues for a bit? Cool, 100 stream messages today. Could be a back end, yeah, I think you're probably right. Back end problem, more than likely. Anyways, let's check out the Junker ship, shall we? This is the newest starter ship in the game. I think of the Avenger Titan as the combat-oriented I'm more or less going to start looking at a schedule here pretty soon because the whole random thing's killing me. But yeah, to answer your question, to answer this is the Intrepid post-upgrade. This is in the brand new paint. By the way, this is the new paint, Shimpasta. The black and the dark blue here. This is the brand new paint. It has a much larger gun now. It's an offset cockpit, very Star Wars-like. So how do we get in? Yeah, this guy, Steve, right now is about $60. It's a starter ship. They have a starter ship package. So here's the entry ramp. We go up in here. So, going to the back first, we have a full interior. Exactly. This is the engineering terminal. These are the storage bays. Well, this is the cargo. Door open. These ramps drop for cargo. And you can use them as emergency egress entry points. Here we have a shutter with all the components for now. This is the engineering terminal. Can't use it yet. That's at the rear of the ship. Here's the compact internal living quarters. You have a kitchenette. You have a dining space, somewhere to sit, a table. I believe this is a bathroom. Yes, you have a bathroom. Your bunk, your suit locker. I don't know how much internal storage it has. Surely there's an internal storage. The gun upgrades. It went from a size 3 baby gaming to a size 4. So I'm pretty certain you can go from... What it has is a size 4 Rhino repeater standard. So it's got some fair teeth to it now. Not perfect, but, you know, if you... Compared to what it had, its base gun was just terrible. So you get into it like this. Yeah, no worries. You're getting this tomorrow, baby gaming? Well, I might add, you might ask around for what people use for their setups.
Crusader Industries, a journey worth taking.
I would.
Systems on.
Anyways, let's see how many shots it has. It is 63 shots. See, that's how it shoots. It's offset. Yeah, no worries, man. No worries. It's got a size 1 shield. And I gotta agree, Chill. This ship should have a size 5 by all rights. But it doesn't. We need... Sadly, can't do much with it. It's not like the Avenger Titan. Unlike the Avenger Titan, which is a combat starter, this is more of a run and gun type starter. I like the paint too. Honestly, 2 size 3s would have been better, but that's just me being nitpicky, maybe. The bigger gun definitely makes it like a mini Ares, which is why it's so appealing, you know? See, it's like a micro Ares. Shape and language-wise and gun-wise. But unlike the Ares, this has more ammo. See, it reloads. It has 63 shots until it runs out. Only takes a few minutes. I'm glad I could help, dude. No worries. But yeah, I was just checking her out, seeing what she was like. Honestly, I like the look of it a lot more than I do. Okay, I will say this. The size 3 gun looked tiny and scrawny. The size 4, a lot better. And also this free paint job. I haven't talked about the Paladin yet. That's a good thing, Chill, to talk about. You're right. The Paladin is a rumored upcoming ship. It's supposed to be like a bigger, better variant of the Valkyrie. Well, I wouldn't call it a true Valkyrie competitor, but the rumor is it is going to be like a new gunship, similar in line to what the Redeemer used to be, but you know,
Welcome to the ASOP vehicle retrieval system.
Isn't anymore. Honestly, it ticks me off. They nuked so many ships. You know?
Please visit us again. Goodbye.
I'll just say that, folks. It ticks me off to high heaven. They nuked up so many ships. Yeah. If it's that size and that has some cargo, I may get it. That sucks. Throw off your dollar to value calculations about what ships to buy. Yeah, it kind of does. OG Steve. A lot of this, it's kind of more what you feel like flying, you know, kind of thing. You know, a lot of people are like that in the Star Citizen community. They fly what they feel like flying. Me, I stopped caring about combat crap a long time ago because at some point, you know, I decided, you know what? I'm going to eventually do other things besides just fly, fight and fly, you know? But yeah. Yeah, I was just showing off that ship. It's got good firepower, but like I said, you might want to check around. A lot of people I've been talking to. Uh-oh. Did it freeze? Yeah, it kind of sort of froze. I have an Idris, but honestly, it's going to take my whole crew to man it. You know? My whole crew is basically going to have to man that ship. So, yeah, I'm not going to be one of these guys screaming, I want to pilot my ship all by myself. Yeah, that's a special kind of dumb. Those guys are crazy. The guys that think they're going to pilot a capital ship all by themselves. Yeah. Yeah. Anyways, guys, I don't know. Oops. I am Captain Axis. Nah. Yeah. Maybe. Maybe kind of, sort of. Yeah. Anyways, it is getting near 11 o'clock. I probably got some. Sadly, I got some stuff to do in the morning. Baby Gaming. I'm glad I could help you. If you're in the neighborhood again, let me know if you need some more help. I got some friends that would definitely love to help you out as well. I'm sure some of these folks would too. You know? Yeah. Now, the problem is who to raid. Who's still up this time of night? Let's see. Who is up? Marcus. Yeah, let me see. Let's see who's up. Let's go with... Whoever's got the lowest hours. So, Let It Red. He's doing a giveaway. Very nice. So I'm going to rate him. Y'all go give Letty Red. I can't spell his name right. A follow if you can. So I'm going to send you guys off for the night. 07 and see you all later.